reveal beautiful natural timber floorboards. Ta-da!
It's concrete.
I knew that.
But it's okay, because we're going to show you how to lay a beautiful natural timber floor on this concrete pad.
We're going to lay the floor using the direct stick method.
Which actually means we're going to glue it and nail it to the concrete pad. Before you begin, your timber floor supplier should be able to check moisture levels in the slab to make sure it's dry enough. There's a large range of colours, grains and varieties of solid timber floors available. The one we've chosen is this light coloured oak. It's going to work really well with the colours we're going to paint the walls. It's 85mm wide and 12mm thick. We start by marking and checking out the door frame so that the end bead fits neatly underneath.
We're going to lay the boards this way. Always start with your longest run. Now the timber's cut to size. The fitting of the first plank is very important. It's got to be in exactly the right place. To allow for a 10mm expansion gap down this side, we've marked the wall an extra 10mm out here. Using polyurethane adhesive, we glue and nail one end of the first board. This must be set absolutely straight as it's a guide for the rest of the floor.
So the very next job in getting this first board absolutely true is to run a string line so we can fix this. Just pull it tight, Dean. Oh, and have you got the pencil and the ruler? Thanks.
Using the string line as a guide, nail and punch the first board. The glue is then evenly screeded onto the floor and we can start to lay the timber.
Well, the glue is spread nice and consistently. It's very important because if you don't get that bit right, you get lumps and bumps. We've measured and allowed enough glue for 10 boards. We're going to put those in and then we're going to clamp it. Now at this point, once our first 10 boards are down, we clamp it using these clamps, which you can hire from the retailer, just to close all these gaps up, and then we nail the first board or the last board down to hold them all in place. Then we remove the clamps and continue on our way. When you're clamping it, you make sure that you use an offcut as a block just to protect the tongue on the side of the timber. Once clamped, we check for raised or drummy spots. We then drill and nail to fix. You right? Yep. On the end?
We then continue laying the boards, which we've cut at random to create a staggered pattern.
Oh, that's great. We're getting there.
That's good.
Very good. Well, it's looking great so far. We've almost come to the end of the laying. The next bit is the sanding, and we're not going to do that, are we?
No, I think that calls for an expert. Our expert floor sander uses this vast array of specialist equipment to produce a brilliant finish on our timber floor. There are 16 separate steps in the process. He starts with a fairly coarse paper and then sands both across the boards diagonally and then along the grain to ensure a dead flat surface. Corners are hand levelled and sanded to ensure an even and professional result.
Any imperfections or nail holes are hand filled and sanded. The grade of papers are then reduced over separate sandings, finishing with a buffing mat or disc. He then applies the finish over 3 separate coatings. And we end up with a superb job on our beautiful solid timber floor. Well, we did it.
Yeah, apart from the sanding.
As you've seen, sanding can be a little bit tricky.
I agree. Sanding and polishing is definitely a job for the experts.
But it looks great.
Looks fantastic.